So everyone who reports from Karnataka, the people from here and those who come from outside, everyone notices that caste plays a very important role in the Karnataka election. For those watching, can you explain how important is caste and how is it different from other states when you look at Karnataka and its elections?
See, caste, Dhanya, is important across India. It's just that, a lot of Anglophone media does not acknowledge that. But if you are reading, say, a Hindi reporter writing about Bihar elections, or I have worked in Rajasthan long back. So if you sort of read a Hindi reporter writing on the Rajasthan election, you will always see these social engineering aspects or social justice aspects coming up constantly. But I do agree that Karnataka is a special case where the caste, if you use a very Marxist analogy, it forms the base structure, and a lot of things are built over that. The superstructure is built on the caste thing. So the caste forms a kind of base structure here in campaigning, in the way politics is done, in the way elections are conceived, in the way tickets are distributed, in the way issues are picked, and I think that's foundational in Karnataka. But I have said this earlier too. This may be a transitional election because I may be completely wrong, but I think the BJP is trying to do something very, very interesting. The experiment may fail, or it may sort of take off. Is that they're shaking up the status quo that has been, that's existed about caste politics in Karnataka for since the 70s, since the time Devarajaras shook it up completely, from the 70s till now. See, that is reflected in the vote shares. All the parties, except when the Janta Dal has broken down or splintered, the Congress has seen a spike in its vote share. Otherwise, all the parties have seen a certain kind of stagnation in their vote shares. And that is because the social engineering aspect, or the social justice aspect, as one would like to call it, or the caste combinations have remained kind of static. So this election, it may be the first election where the BJP is attempting to shake it a little, and we may start seeing something else by the time we have the next assembly elections. So caste is central in Karnataka for the simple reason that the first backward class reservations, even before Mandal, see, Mandal happens, the whole idea of the Mandal, commission comes up during Morarji's time as under his prime ministership. So even before that, there is the Havnur Commission in Karnataka. Havnur has already, given his report, and Devarajaras during his reign of eight and a half years, implemented the Havnur Commission, and OBC reservations were given. The Mandal that shook up the nation after VP Singh accepted it in '89, and then you see the whole upheaval that happened in North Indian politics. Even before that, a silent, quieter reservation had happened. Process of reservations, OBC reservations had happened in Karnataka. So Karnataka has seen all of it before the nation saw it.
So,
And
how do you say that the BJP is trying to challenge the status quo as far as caste politics in Karnataka is
yes,
concerned?
that's an interesting question. That is because, see, until now, the perception was, say, I'll give you the example of Lingayats. Lingayats was seen as one voting block. See, you never heard of the splintering of the Lingayats, the voting block. You never spoke of subcaste going the other way. But this time, what has happened with the Dalit vote and the Lingayat vote, the BJP has tried to give internal reservations, at least made a kind of symbolic gesture. It is still not implemented, as you know, it has to go through a lot of challenges in the courts as well as in the parliament. It's still not out there happening, but there is an indication, there is an intent that has been made known. They've expressed their intent to do it, and that is being sold to the electorate as something that will happen if they come back to power. And you see, and in the case of reservations, always you can never withdraw what has been given. Once the population or the demography becomes aware of it, and one political party sort of expresses its intention to give it, the another political party cannot come and say, I'm going to take it back from you. So it will create a different kind of rupture. So BJP, what it has done is it has tried to splinter the Lingayat block by giving Pancham Salis some kind of preference. And Pancham Salis are the biggest subsect within the Lingayats, and they were not as empowered as the other subsects, which were smaller in number. See, if I give you one analogy, it will become very example. It will become clear. See, all the chief ministers of Karnataka, except for senior and junior Bommai, have all belonged to one particular subsect of the Lingayats, which is the trading subsect called the Banajigas. Bommai senior and Bommai junior belong to a subsect called Sadars. And the Pancham Salis, the demand in the last 2 years, you have seen all the protests that were taking place, and the Swamiji sitting on a dharna for months together, the entire community rallying around them. And even when the transition was happening between Yediyurappa and Bommai, the demand was a Pancham Sali be made a chief minister. That is why the name of Nirani came up. Nirani is a Pancham Sali Lingayat. That is why the name of a Basuraj Patil Yatnal came up, a man who's always seen abusing B.S. Yediyurappa. There was something like that had never happened in Karnataka. Yediyurappa was an unchallenged, tall leader of the Lingayats. But Basuraj Patil Yatnal, how much ever he abused Yediyurappa and his son in the last 1.5 years, has never been thrown out of the party. I don't think there's been any disciplinary action on him. He is contesting an election this time. So I think it's a very, very measured kind of decision to allow these provocations inside the Lingayat quarter, so that the Pancham Salis are on your side, and if the rest of them try to, are unhappy about it, it only brings the Pancham Salis together, because if a smaller subsect objects to a bigger subsect getting reservations or a bit of quota extra points, I think there will be even more greater kind of animosity. So I think BJP is trying to play that game. Therefore, one
Hmm.
last point on this. Therefore, a Shettar going out is not seen as a major thing within the BJP. See, Shettar may be an RSS man, he may have been a chief minister. This whole thing of Gaddari that has been attributed to, all that rhetoric will be there. But he belongs to the Banajiga subsect. So the Pancham Salis are probably feeling a little more lighter and happy that one big Banajiga person is out, so our route to power is probably far more clearer.
Hmm. So you're saying Shettar's exit will not make the Lingayats as a bloc be angry with the BJP one. So I have lots of questions to ask from what you said, but I think I should begin from the fact that why do you think BJP went for this shake-up in the last minute to announce these internal reservations? Did the BJP by then, before the elections were announced, believe that the Lingayats, especially the Pancham Shalis, were moving away from them?
No, not really. I think the whole thing was when Bommai became the chief minister in was it 21 of July? I think around that time. See, the intention of the BJP was to create a more universal electorate. See, when I say it was the intention, this is my reading, like you as a journalist. So it's a reading. So they were trying to create a more universal electorate, which is a Hindutva electorate. See, if you look at BJP, it's very comfortable creating a kind of bipolar narrative where it says, I am a Hindu, you're not a Hindu, or you are national, I am anti-national. It's like that kind of bipolar binary narrative is something that the BJP thrives on. And not giving any tickets to Muslims, and the rest of them looked at in a certain way. So the BJP wanted to create a universal electorate even in Karnataka, or a binary electorate even in Karnataka, which was not the case in Karnataka till then. In Karnataka, see, whether we like it or not, this multiplicity of castes and multiplicity of worldviews that these castes bring in had created a very diverse kind of electoral environment. And BJP wanted to create two narratives, which makes it easier for them to win an election, which is anti-Congress narrative, which is trying to make them look like anti-nationals, or trying to bucket Muslims in a certain way and polarize the state. So they started out with that. It's not that they wanted to arrive at caste immediately. These quota and other things were I think was a afterthought. So first they started out with a Hindutva kind of narrative and an agenda, and therefore, when Bomai stepped in, what was he talking? He was saying action and reaction. Every action will have a reaction. Then he started speaking about hijab. Then he started speaking about halal. Then he started speaking about azan. Then he started speaking about Anjanadri, Hanuman Janmabhoomi. Then there was a Ram temple thing that was coming up. Well, there was a whole bunch of narratives that were being thrown at people, right? So that they thought they were gauging. See, BJP, whether we like the party or not, is a party that experiments quite a bit and gauges the reaction, goes back, brings in a corrective, tries to balance, does a lot of things. So they were gauging how this narrative is picking up, and they were when they sort of tried to read this, they understood that it was not picking up as much as they wanted across the state. So they had no qualms. They just dropped everything. In fact, they dropped it to such an extent that I was just watching one of the shows, some kind of a conclave that a television channel had in Bangalore, where Bomai was asked about Hindutva, and he suddenly started blaming the anchor and the television channel
This
and
was
the
the India
media
Today
for
conclave, and Bommai told Rahul Kanwal the media is bothered about hijab and
yeah,
halal, not
hijab
us.
and halal. Probably Rahul Kanwal had a certain brief to sort of ask that question. I don't know, but I was really surprised with Bommai trying to push him back on the whole thing, and
Hmm.
Bommai pushing that back looked a little ridiculous because you and I, as residents of Bangalore and Karnataka, have witnessed what Bommai was trying to do. You saw what kind of battles, pitched battles, were held when the hijab thing happened, when the halal thing happened, or trying to deny Muslims their economic kind of space. And this is a state which has the highest kind of syncretic points, right?
So
So
you are
there's
saying when the Hindutva narrative did not work, their new
absolutely.
experiment was with the internal reservations.
Absolutely. So when they realized that this whole thing is not working to the level that they wanted, they thought we will take a different route. See, please don't be confused that they have given it up. No, they have not. They will never, because that's their primary agenda. What they're trying to do is trying to take a certain different route, slightly different route, which is splinter the caste quota. If you go on giving reservation within reservation, the last judgment of the Arun Mishra, Justice Arun Mishra in the Supreme Court was about internal reservation, and that was a huge signal. And the BJP picked it up first. And when you start slicing the pie, which is a limited pie, now whatever reservations these people have announced in the last leg of before going to elections crosses the 50% limit that the Supreme Court has set. It goes to 56%, and that is EWS and all that put together will sort of create a furthermore confusing picture. So if you start splintering the caste pie with further quota, internal reservations, then when people, the expectation or the hope, perhaps that they have, is that people will realize that getting quota doesn't really matter because it's so small and so intensely there's such intense competition that there is no point in seeking that. So probably that is the kind of logic that is operating. So they've declared this. And see, there is in 1994 something very similar happened with the Veerap Moily government. When he was confronted by the Okaligas, he gave reservations to everybody, right, left, and center.
Is that what
Created
Siddaramaiah is doing now? He has promised 75%
no,
reservation.
yeah, Sidramaya has. I have a feeling that Sidramaya has done it mindlessly. See, the Congress is a party that only reacts to the agenda that the BJP sets. The Congress has not set the agenda on anything today. If you look at the whole thing, except for corruption, and corruption is also an agenda that people like you, that is the media in Karnataka, set. Right? It is something that they picked up. It's not that a Congress person discovered a scam and held a press conference. It was Dhanya who was speaking about voting scam or somebody else speaking about something else. And it was the media which set that agenda. So Congress per se believes in getting power by default, and that is why their vote share has somewhat stagnated. And I've told you earlier that it spiked only when the opposition splintered. Even 2013, although Ballari was a very big issue in 2013, if you remember, the Ballari mining issue, Sidramaya had done his Padayatra. Yeah, that did give an air cover. But finally, what is it that defeated the BJP? It is Yadurappa going out, taking away his 8%, then Sri Ramulu going out, taking away his 4%, the Valmiki vote, the Lingayat vote splintering. And what was the vote share of the Congress party which came to power? It was a minuscule 34%, around 34%. And what is the vote share that they got in 2018 when they got just 75 seats and the BJP was united? They got 37%, but they still got lower number of seats. So this should explain that caste, which is a question that you asked me earlier, is so central that these alignments changing can quickly change the voting blocks. That is how Karnataka has behaved so far. I mean, it may change, is what I feel.
But do you believe there is any sort of consolidation, whether it's the Vokkaliga vote for the JDS or the Lingayats, even the subsects? Do you perceive any sort of consolidation for any party this time?
No, it has never happened. See, consolidation has never meant, Dhanya, 100% one community voting in a certain. The BJP, even in the best of scenarios, has got about 65-70% of the Lingayats voting for them. So the 30% gets scattered here and there. Similarly, although we call Janta Dal a Vokkaliga, has its base in the Vokkaliga region, I don't think they've got more than 40% Vokkaliga vote at any given point of time. Right? That is after 1999. So no political party can think of getting a complete en bloc, whatever. The percentages may vary by, there may be a 2 or 3% swing. But that 2 or 3% swing is what every party vies for, because there is a stagnated vote share, as I told you. There is a 30.
Mhm.
See, BJP, even its worst, in its worst kind of condition, will deliver some 30% because there is a certain kind of loyalty to the party which will deliver 30% vote share. The JDS has oscillated between 19 and 20%, 18 and 20% vote share. Come what may, whoever campaigns, whatever happens, that has been their vote share. Congress, 33 to 35% has been its average vote share since 82. I'm using the 82 benchmark is because that is the first time that a non-Congress government came to power in Karnataka and Hegde became the chief minister. And a lot of 70s experiments were playing out in a completely different way. So we don't know whether there is that kind of consolidation happening behind a party. It may be like the earlier case, but with an extra 2% or 3%. Or the Lingayats may I mean, because of the kind of splintering that we see, 2 or 3% may come down, but it may not affect the strike rate of the BJP.